You're right, it's me, Zog. Don't know what you've heard about me, but I am a qualified master of zoology, and some say I'm an incisive cultural maven, and all-around upstanding and respectable guy. I don't know about that, but I can tell you that I'm a lifelong Pokémon lover and one of the world's most experienced Pokémon trainers. I've wasted the best part of 7 years so far, attending countless tournaments in 5 countries, 3 world championships, soon to be 4, and I'm the only person to hold the distinction of top quitting worlds with BHM. Do you know why that is? It's because it's shit. Yeah. I've won things, I've lost things, I've looked like a bit of a bell end, but it's all been worth it. Because VGC has a rich and uplifting history, full of funny stories and very colourful characters. And I'm here to tell you that story in the best possible medium, with naff jokes and a crap PowerPoint. Welcome to VGC Abridged. VGC, or Video Game Championship, is, believe it or not, the only form of competitive Pokemon worth playing. Why is that? Well, unlike any other kind of Pokemon, in which the only reward is E-penis, with VGC you can actually win some things, like nerd glory in real life, some free trading cards, and maybe, if you're good, a games console that by definition you already own, moderately mad amounts of dosh if you're a 12-year-old. You can enjoy the esports coverage, you can even get a free holiday and even more trading cards. It's bloody brilliant. Oh, and you make some nerdy friends too, if you're into that kind of thing. Alright lads and lasses, are you ready for story time? It all began in 2009, the first year that VGC hit the UK. We played it on Diamond and Pearl version, which were the most recent games in Europe at the time. Everyone else played on Platinum version, because back in 2009, Nintendo paid about as much attention to Europe as they did their old discarded Furby. Double battles, as always, and with a level 50 rule. However, the Sinnoh games had a pretty stupid oversight in them, which meant that anything over level 50 couldn't be scaled down to level 50. So as a result, you couldn't use Tyranitar, even though he would have been one of the best Pokemon in the game. You could, however, use Dragonite, but only if you got him at Toys R Us, which was kind of weird. I never saw Dragonite all year, and I don't think anyone used one. But aside from that, it was a good year. We had some nice venues, like La Grande Arche at La Défense, although not many people turned up to that, because French people have always been rubbish at Pokemon. It's just a fact. Name me one good French player. You're not going to be able to do it. But yeah, the other problem with this format was the entry system was stupid. Every tournament was limited to 128 players, and anyone over that got entered into a lottery, which meant that a lot of people who turned up didn't get to play at all. It's like, if your number didn't get called out, then haha, go home you nerd, you don't get to play. Sad. Now, most of the people who got to play, which wasn't very many, and of those, the few of them that actually knew what they were doing, not very many people thought in depth about their team building. There wasn't really any real strategizing going on. This was generally because the player base was so small. It was limited to just one small section on Smogon, which the rest of the website hated. They just constantly kept having a go at people on the VGC section, presumably because they sometimes went outside. So most people playing, when they were making a team, they kind of thought a bit like this. They were like, you know what, let's have Garchomp. He's pretty good. He's strong. Let's have a Zapdos as well. He's pretty top banana. Ooh, think about this a second. Zapdos is flying type, and Garchomp is ground type. So let's have him use Earthquake, and then Zapdos can use Discharge. And yeah, look at that. Banging combination. Garchomp and Zappy Dappy Doo, eh? They're inseparable. Real yin and yang. Just like Tom and Jerry. Penn and Teller, or Gyros and Weatherspoons, and Lob and Metagross on it. Yeah, we good. Every 2009 team was made like this, and if you remember differently, you remember wrong. Personally, I opted to start with a Dust Noir, which I intended to set up with Rain Dance and then Gravity. I combined that with my other lead mon, the Gengar, going for the spooky double ghost lead. This was a Gengar with 2 0 IVs, but I used it because, come on man, it was shiny. My plan with him was to use Explosion, which would be unheard of nowadays. And he was meant to wipe out the first 2 of the opponent's Pokemon, with Quillfish coming in to replace him, who would then load again, and then wipe out the other opponents. And then Kabutops would come in to clean up. So that was my team. If you're thinking it sounds like a massive steaming pile of shite, then you would be correct. It was awful. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I do remember actually coming up with it on the toilet. That's not even a joke. I actually did. But I think the fact that I top cut nationals with that absolute turd of a team should give you an indication of the severely low skill level at the time. I mean, I've pissed out a better strategy than that. So, yes, don't have high expectations for people's performances in 2009. That said, the complete incompetence of almost everybody involved really did make it a bit of a laugh to look back on in hindsight. To give you some idea, my brother brought a Parasect, which is already stupid, and in the round 1, he played this kid with a Ninetales, which, yeah, this kid, he was like, his whole family were with him. His grandma, his sister, everything. They were all watching and cheering him on. So my brother felt kind of bad playing him, because this was before the Masters division. Seniors division was just 12 and up, so this kid must have been about 12. This Ninetales used Ember on my brother's Parasect, which, despite being 8 times weak, Parasect survived and then KO'd this Ninetales back. The kid started crying because my brother just wiped the floor with him. And yeah, you should have seen this kid's dad's face. He really was not happy. He grabbed this kid by the shoulder and frog marched him out of the arena. He was like shouting about how they come all the way from Northern Ireland, how it costs so much money. It was £700 or something. Never again. Never bringing you again. And I was all watching it from my table. I was playing some bloke from Leeds, who, again, just completely wrecked me. I had no chance. He had a Garchomp or something, and then this little staff member in a lab coat came over and hat checked this dude, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, mate, but you're disqualified due to an illegal blissey." And he's like, "You what?" "Yeah, illegal blissey, mate. Yeah, you're disqualified." So this guy got sent out, and I got to the next round. Funnily enough, there was a lot of strange disqualifications. There was a guy who got thrown out for having 2 Lumberries on the same team, which the staff didn't notice on his team sheet. He had to fill in a team sheet because there was no battle box or anything. They didn't even tell him he'd done that wrong. There was another guy who later went on to be a very, very good player, a friend of mine, with very spiky hair. He got disqualified for having too many Grass Knot TMs. That's a quote, too many Grass Knot TMs. He was accused of hacking them. He had, but yeah. So for my top cut match, I played some Mosher bloke with a Electivire and a Zapdos. I wonder what his plan was, but alas, he never got to use them because I just impulsively, despite my Gengar having a sash, I just used Explosion immediately, and it critical hit both of them. Like, yeah, it was my lucky day. So eventually I played and lost to this lad named Sadman. To the contrary, he was actually quite jolly. But I lost to him, and he went on to play in the final against my dear friend Andy, who I'd taught to play just 2 months before. It was his first Pokemon game, and within 2 months he was already considerably better than me, and he made the final in the Nationals, which he sadly lost because, stupidly, he trusted me, he believed in me, and he brought his camera up when I told him it was the play. Camera was not the play. He lost horribly, but he still won the trip to Worlds in San Diego, where he met Pokemon Hitler, who's actually a Japanese Tarantelle called Golgo, and yeah, he got my cat this sweet hat, so everybody was a winner. So that was my 2009. I didn't get to do a lot, but still had a great time. So in more detail, the important facts for you to remember about 2009, it was 4v4 doubles, bring 6, but because there was no team preview, the other 2 ones, most of the time, because it was best of 1 until you got to Worlds, they were just useless, so they might as well have been anything, literally anything. Yeah, everyone was rubbish, is the most important thing to remember. Everyone was rubbish, apart from Glorious Nippon. The Japanese players dominated. They learned way before everybody else that Smeargle, and especially Dark Void, was the play. And they were the biggest fans of Explosion and Self-Destruct too, which it dealt twice the damage as it did in the 5th generation. So it was actually really good, and a lot of teams included Explosion, especially on Metagross. He was the biggest user of it. Other facts we have are 2009 was the only time we had a female in the world's top cut. Empoleon won US Nationals. Obama Snow was president. Drill Peck was a solid move. And most importantly, a level 37 Leafeon did better than the future world champion, 3-time world champion, and probably best player in history, Ray Rizzo. And that was because he lost to the lottery at Philadelphia Regionals, along with 90% of the people who turned up. Literally, most of the people there were just told they couldn't play. And on that bombshell, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of VGC Abridged. Now, it wasn't the most interesting year, and I'm still learning how to make videos, but I hope you enjoyed it. In the next episode, we'll have some mad 2010 strats. We'll witness the birth of some VGC legends, both famous and infamous, and a turtle gets smacked in the face. So give us a subscribe and whatever if you want to watch that. Hope you do, and ta-ra till next time.